My name is Chris Poublon. I grew up in Methuen, but I live in Dracut at this point. My mother moved to Dracut when I was in the Marines, and when I got out of the Marine Corps, I ended up living with her for a little while. Now I have kids of my own. I live in my own house in Dracut. I joined the Marines in 2004. I was in the Marines 2004 to 2008. I joined as a cook, thinking I wasn't going to go to Iraq. Turns out that's the first place I went. I was in Iraq for about a year. I did a quick tour on a ship with the Navy for 6 months, where I was a baker. I got a Navy Achievement Medal in baking. It was great. When I was in Iraq, I had to search people for bombs every day. That wasn't the best job in the world. I searched a lot of butt cracks. Not fun at all. But when I got out of Iraq, I was able to get into the whole cooking side of being in the Marines. And I got out in 2008. I came home. I've been going to school ever since. I don't really want to stay in the Marines anymore because the problem with being a Marine is they take away your freedom of speech. It's a weird dynamic where the people that live in America have their freedom of speech. They have all of their freedoms. But as a Marine, as somebody in the service, your freedoms are limited. And for what I wanted to do in life, the Marines didn't really offer a door for that. So I had to get out just because, well, now I work in radio. Being in radio was something that I wanted to do when I was about 7 years old. And I tossed it to the side thinking, no way, I'm never going to be in radio. It's never going to happen for me. So I really liked to cook growing up, so I tried going into the cook route. I went to culinary arts in high school, and I was thinking about going to college for cooking before I joined the Marines. I kind of fell into being in the radio business by accident. I went to school over at Middlesex Community College, and there was a radio club. And turns out I was pretty talented in what the radio club was doing. And we went on a tour here at WCAP. My boss now was asking for interns then, and sure enough, I interned for about 8 months, and there was an opening to be a board operator for the morning show. And I just jumped into it, and the rest is history. The rest is really me. I'm still at the bottom of the totem pole, but I'm moving up, and I found out that it's weird reflecting back on being 7 years old. And now I'm 30, and I'm kind of following the path that I kind of pushed to the side that I thought was never going to happen. I produce a morning show that's typically a lot of politics. When it's not politics, we goof around. We goof about this day in history. We like to give things away with little questions and stuff. The show I do, the morning show is one thing. I do so many shows here. I literally produce in the other room here. This is Studio B. This is where all the real shows happen. And like I said, the morning show I'm a big part of. It's a lot of politics. I'm trying to think it out. I normally sit back for the politics because I don't really get into those discussions. I like to just goof off. The show I do on Thursday nights is completely my brainchild, and it's really just us goofing off. I find a couple wacky news stories, sometimes a silly top 10 list, and I have comedians that come in that work the local circuit, open mic comedians, sometimes pretty... they're all comedians that I think are funny. Join me on Thursday nights 9 to midnight, and we just like to goof off. I like to have that comedy element to it. My dream job is to get paid to just goof off and laugh. I've always been that funny guy. Growing up, I was always that person that could tell a funny story. I was always that person that could... And it's weird, because I would turn it off, and I'd start feeling weird once the attention was focused on me. I didn't really want to take everybody's time up, and I want to be the glutton for attention, but people would legitimately be interested in what I was saying. But I was too terrified of the stage. And a friend of mine said, dude, Poublon, you're in Iraq, and you're afraid of standing on stage in front of a bunch of people to tell a couple jokes? And that kind of resonated with me. That kind of like really hit me. It's different when you're going on stage. For me, it's more terrified to be on stage in front of people than to be in Iraq with a weapon getting shot at. But sure enough, I tried it, and the first year it was terrifying. But now, once you get a solid set, and once you get that first initial reaction of knowing you're funny and getting that laughter, it's addicting. It's almost like a drug, and you want to kind of keep it going. And you realize that you can actually get paid for goofing off and making people laugh. Why not? Do what you're good at. At first, yes, And it really depends on who you're doing it with. On the morning show, I can say goofy things and I can say stupid things. I'm not going to worry about looking like I'm stupid, because they take it more of like, oh, it's just Publon. There's some other shows that are more serious where my reply has to be more well thought out. It has to be, if I'm going to say something, it needs to add to the conversation. That's just a different show. And then there's my show where I could say whatever I want. I could be a complete idiot. I can get called out. That's kind of part of the comedy. So at first, it is a little nerve-wracking. And a lot of people I see coming in here that it's their first time on the radio, they go through it because it's weird thinking that potentially thousands of people are going to hear your voice. But once you get over that and you get comfortable and it becomes more of just a conversation between a few people, it's really not a big deal. I have no idea who's listening.
You've never thought of that?
I've thought of it a few times because we get a lot of callers, especially the morning show. We get so many callers that call in. A lot of people give me feedback, and I haven't gotten anything negative. I get a lot of positive feedback. For the morning show, it's the demographic. I want to say they're olds. We get a bunch of olds listening to us. No, they're I want to say 40 and up that listen to the morning show. I like to think that there's people that are younger listening to the show I do on Thursday nights, the After Party, every Thursday night, 9 to midnight. Do I think... I really think it's just like drunk people that listen on my night show. I never really think about it just because I want to be more in the element of the conversation. I'm always surprised in who hears us. Sometimes we'll do a show, and then maybe a week and a half later, someone will come up to me and tell me something that I said, and I'll be completely thrown back, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that, sorry if I offended you. No, I thought it was funny. Alright, good, then I meant to say that. Do I think about it? Not often, because I guess I just want to be part of the conversation. If this isn't it, I'd like to be a headliner comedian. I want to get my set locked down, because to do 15 minutes of comedy in most places, I mean, I have a pretty solid 15 minutes. I just don't have the time right now to get out of the house. But you can make $50 to $75. To do 45 minutes to an hour, you can get $500 to $1,200. And that's just for literally that amount of work. And it's been explained to me in the past. Because I was thinking, what, 45 minutes to an hour, you're making $1,200? What it is, though, is you're not getting paid for that 45 minutes to an hour. You're getting paid for all that time that it took you to develop that 45 minutes to an hour. But once you have it, you have work, especially if people like you and your personality. I'm not able to get out and do stand-up as often as I did because I've spread myself so thin between... I work the morning show here, so I'm at the radio station every day, 5:30 in the morning until 12 in the afternoon. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go to class right afterwards. So on Tuesdays, I'm there from 2 o'clock to 3:15. And then Thursdays, I'm there 2 o'clock to 6:20. And then Thursday night, I'm stuck. I'm here at the radio station 9 to midnight, so I have to prep for my show. And every day throughout the week when I get out at 12, there's just certain tasks, errands I have to do. I got to go to the market for this. I got to go here for that. And it's tough to get out of the house at night when I know I have to write a newscast and wake up super early in the morning to come back to work. Being a comedian is... having a morning job is almost like the kryptonite of being a comedian. That and not having a car. I split a car with my girlfriend, and we're on a 12,000 mile per year lease. So that doesn't make things any easier. So being a comedian right now, it's tough. But being behind a microphone and getting comfortable with what I'm saying and just staying comfortable with the stage, that's all I need for when I do free up some time.
Warning, if you do not like hearing the following words: booger, sex, poop, butthole, fart, pee, boobies, sack,
I already said that.
dingleberry, d***head, booger face, then this show might not be for you.
This is the after party at 980 WCAP. We're professionals.
Barely made with any salmonella. 978-454-4980. Numbers coming at you.
Puking in the kitchen, and then I farted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Conversion tales on
Hey! I'm right on the edge.
Hey, welcome to the after party at 980 WCAP. How are you? I'm Chris Poublon. Joining me in studio, I have Mr. Alan Richardson.
Heyo.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am feline fine, Chris.
Oh, yeah? Little cat things going on, huh?
You know, just a little cat thing.
Just
You
a
know,
little-
a couple of days till catter day, you know. I'm working for the weekend.
Right on, man. Hey, you know what? Normally I have like way more people to introduce, but it's just us tonight, huh?
I know, dude. This is like us doing MTV Unplugged.
Now, normally Craig cancels way earlier, so I'm assuming he's still going to be here. He's just running late.
I think the problem is like it's still been cold, even though it's March. But he was like, you know what? Spring's coming up.
Yeah.
I gotta wear my jorts. And I was like, Craig, you can't wear your jorts everywhere. And he's like, but dude, I gotta be wearing my jorts.
Yeah.
The kid's got a problem.
So he sleeps in,
Yeah, yeah.
and then he gets here late because he knows better.
I mean, who doesn't sleep until 9:30 at night?
But it doesn't matter. I know. Hey, you know what?